Welcome to my Another Eden video guide on the Bertrand and Felmina manifestation fight. In this video, I'm just going to break down both encounters, which can be a little bit tricky if you don't have a two-turn Another Force team, especially since Bertrand's fight is a little bit more HP heavy from him being innately a tank. But I'll try to make this as easy and simple for those of you guys watching as possible. So without further ado, let's start off with overlooking the Bertrand's Magister weapon. It's a level 60 weapon, giving you 190 attack stat and 23 magic power. And when you have it at plus 10 enhanced fully, he gets enhanced versions of Overbear and Guardian Lance. For Overbear, it's going to be a priority piercing attack on a single enemy, dealing extra large damage, and he will decrease the power of that target by 30% for 3 turns while inflicting pain and rage. And this skill will now ignore target resistance for 3 turns as well. And then for his Guardian Lance, he's going to do a piercing attack on all enemies extra large and inflict rage for 3 turns. And this will increase the user's maximum HP. It'll also apply a counter when he's physically attacked. He will restore his mana by 50 points for 3 turns. Now, let's go over the Bertrand Manifest fight breakdown. Like all Manifest fights, he has no weaknesses, but he is resistant to fire and water. And some of these names may be incorrect since I mostly got them from the Japanese wiki site, so bear in mind with the translation differences. On the left, we're going to have Bertrand's Manifest rotation. He's going to have 6 turns, pretty much. He has 2 of his skills, the Overbear and Guardian Lance. Turn 1, he's going to increase the physical resistance of all his allies. Turn 2, single target physical, strength debuff, pain and provoke. Turn 3, he's going to apply a self-physical buff. Turn 4, he's going to have an AoE stun with a strength debuff. Turn 5 is Overbear again, the same as turn 2. And turn 6, Guardian Lance is a AoE physical attack that provokes. As for the little princess, she's going to have 6 turns to her attack, same as Bertrand's. Turn 1, she's going to give all her allies an attribute and resistance buff. Turn 2, she's going to do a single physical target damage with an intellect debuff. Turn 3, Princess Bloom, which is going to be a single target fire and will apply a AoE wind resistance buff to both her and Bertrand. Turn 4, Little Stars is an AoE physical with all attribute resistance debuff. Turn 5 is the same thing as turn 2, single target physical with intellect debuff. And turn 6 is Princess Bloom, same as turn 3, AoE physical with a provoke as well. Now here are some of the recommended party compositions, and like in all my Manifest videos, you can always take this with a grain of salt. As long as you have units that can fill in the same roles as some of these units, that is perfectly fine, you can go for it. And this is more in line for people who don't necessarily have turn 2 Another Force comps to make it as easy as for them as possible. But for this fight, there's going to be a mixed team recommendation. You can bring Myris Another Style if you pulled her, Tiramisu, Tuva with her Manifest weapon, Nagi Another Style, Claude Another Style, Felmina with her Manifest weapon. At max should also make this pretty easy. Suzette another with her Manifest weapon, Kikyo, Morgana, and in the future, if you're coming back to this, you can bring Ferran Another Style, Cyril, Radius, Victor, Mystria. As for healer and supports, you will definitely need to bring Bertrand. Mayunfa will be great as well if you are running a Earth team. Donarth, Vanna, Mana, Mario, Original, or her Another Style for heals, and Yuna as well. Now, Bertrand's Manifest fight is pretty much a whacking stick, a DPS check for your Gwyn team. For his fight, it's mostly beneficial if you could bring a magic team comp, since physical attacks will not be very damaging, and it'll force the fight to drag on longer and longer, making it more and more difficult. And above all, the 2 most recommended would be, Tuva and Myris Another Style if you have them as the main DPS. That'll also increase the firepower for your units since they deal earth-based attacks. Especially this is true when you can have Mayunfa be brought as well. As for that, you can also bring Tiramisu, who can perform, defense neglecting attacks, since there are 2 bosses as well. And as like anything else, the zones do make these fights a lot simpler. So if you do have Claude Another Style or Mayunfa, or maybe in the future if you pulled Vienna Another Style, since she also brings forth a wind zone, it can make things a little bit easier as well. Another thing to note is that it'll be great if you can remove physical resistance buffs, since the Bertrand in the Manifest fight will grant himself a physical defense resistance buff. So if you can cancel that out, it'll make your physical attack damage dealers be able to whittle him down even quicker. Anyways, that's pretty much it for the recommended party compositions for Bertrand. Let's go on to Felmina's Galeforce weapon. So as you can see, Felmina's Galeforce weapon is a level 60 weapon. It has 186 attack with the magic attribute increase of 31. For her enhanced skill, she's going to have Tri-Cataclysm, which will increase it by giving it a physical resistance on the target down by 25% for 3 turns, and you can stack this up to 3 times, up to a highest modifier of 50%. And she also gains critical damage up to 50% for 1 turn when using Tri-Cataclysm. And as for her other skill, Licorice Blossom, she gets wind type slash attacks on her skill on a single enemy extra large and inflicts poison and pain for 3 turns. This will also ignore the target's resistance, and power of user will increase by 30% for 3 turns. This essentially will make Felmina at plus 10 with her Manifest weapon the highest single target damage dealer in the game for a very long time. She's actually still currently one of the best single target damage dealers in the game, only to be, overshadowed by a few others, but she is still highly sought after. And since she's pretty easy to get, since she's one of the older units, it's pretty easy to have one of the best DPS units in the game with her. Alright, let's break down the Manifest fight. It's going to be 7 turn rotations for both. The fight will have no weaknesses as usual, and she's going to be resistant to water and earth. For Felmina on the left, she's going to have 7 turn action. First turn is going to be an AoE speed debuff along with a blunt resistance debuff to your team. Then turns 2, 4, 5, and 7, she's going to use the same Tri-Cataclysm, which will be a physical target, single target with pain application, poison, and defense down. And remember, with the enhanced skill, when she applies pain onto your units, she's going to deal further increased damage to that unit that has pain. Turn 3, she's going to have Dual Moon, which is a single target defense debuff. And turn 6 is Licorice Blossom, which is a single target physical damage dealer with a poison and self-strength buff to herself. For the Little Princess, you're going to have 7 turns as well. It's similar to Bertrand, but with a little difference in terms of their action skills. Turn 1 is going to be an AoE attribute resistance buff for both her and Felmina. Little Star's turn 2 will do an AoE physical all attribute resistance debuff to your team. Turn 3's Runeblade is a single target physical with intelligence debuff. Turn 4 will be a single target fire attack, and it'll also buff her allies with resistance. Turns 5 and 6 are Little Star, similar to turn 2. And turn 7 is another Princess Bloom, which is again single target fire with allies wind resistance buff. So some of the recommended party compositions for this fight. If you do decide to bring a fire team, you can bring both Garyu, his original or his another style. Renri Another Style is fantastic here, along with Akane Another Style, Iwan with his Manifest, Lovely, Shion with his Manifest, Sukiha's original or her Another Style in the future update. And if you do decide to bring Wind, you could bring Felmina original or her Another Style, Claude Another Style or his original, depending if you want the Wind, Suzette with her Manifest weapon, Kikyu, Isuka Manifest, and Azami Manifest are great. For healers and support, I would recommend Dunarth if you're running a Wind team mostly, Mario original or her Another Style, or Yuna. And as for others, which will have mostly future units, but Tiramisu is another excellent choice for this fight encounter. You can also bring Radius, Ferran Another Style, Mystria, Hina, Victor, or Cynthia, and even Mana could be useful too. And for this type of fight, a fire party is generally recommended, since in the Felmina fight, the Little Princess pretty much does wind resistance buffs to her allies, making fire more advantageous than wind if you can't 2-turn another force her down. And pretty much if you just beat Felmina, you win the fight. You don't have to focus on Little Princess. Same goes for Bertrand as well. If you do defeat Bertrand, you end up winning the fight as well. So in this case, that's why single target fire damage dealers such as Renri Another Style, Akane Another Style, or even Suhika, Shion as well, are generally seen to be very desirable for this encounter. And just some notes is that for a regular fight like this, you want to reduce the damage with physical strength debuff, since most of the attacks coming in are going to be physical. So anyways, that pretty much covers both manifest fights, guys. Hopefully you guys will find this pretty simple. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of another Eden. We're about to switch over to 2.3, which is going to herald some future power creep units. But for now, at least enjoy these really strong upgraded weapons to upgrade your Felmina and Bertrand. Hope you guys enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video guide. Take care. Bye-bye.